All right, it's time to put our beautiful papers together. And we are going to be making this book using a pamphlet stitch. And this is my beautiful kitty Truffles, and her little tail is right there. This is where she likes to be. So we have our 4 papers, and this is what else we're going to need. We're going to need a bone folder. This will help us make really nice, crisp folds. And since we are using the heavier paper, the watercolor paper, we definitely need something like a bone folder. We're also going to be using an awl. If you don't have an awl, you could use something like an ice pick. It just needs to have a really sharp end. And then we need our wax thread. Ladies, what I want to show you is something that you can get at Amazon. And I'm not telling you that you have to have this, because you most certainly do not. If you want to create this magical little book in just a notebook or some other form of journal, you can do that as well. I'm just giving you an alternative, and I really think once you start making these books, you definitely are going to be hooked on them. So I want to show you a kit that I purchased because I just had a feeling that I was going to love bookmaking, and I do. This kit, and I will make sure that I have the link to this in your PDF. This is from Amazon, and I purchased this. It comes in this nice little pouch, and I keep everything in here. That way I will not lose it. You will get a bone folder. You will get that awl. You will get lots of different colors of this waxy thread. You're going to get a navy, a rainbow, some natural colors, and the black. You're also going to get binder clips, which I'm going to show you here in a minute why you need those. You're going to get a thimble and things like that, and you'll also get needles. Again, I cannot tell you how much I use this, and I love knowing that everything is in this little pouch. I believe I paid about $17 for this, and it's well worth it, because this is primarily what I journal in now, are my own handmade journals. So maybe after today, you're going to see how simple it is, and you're going to be able to do this, even if you've never done it before, and hopefully you're going to say, gosh, I want to make more of these little books. I need one too. So, all right, so let's get started with this. And I always have a pin cushion on hand too, simply because I like to keep my needle in there. This pin cushion was made by my mama and my daughter a long time ago. I love it. It's a little cupcake. Okay, we'll get started. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take that first sheet of paper, and remember, we already have it the size that we need it, and you need to fold this over, and it doesn't matter which side you do that on. So we're going to fold it in half. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to have it close to having those edges together as possible. Take that bone folder and just kind of mash it down, and then go over it. That bone folder is so perfect to make that crease. Okay, so there you go. You have a book, a little book. Okay, we're going to do that then with every page. I'm just going to keep the video running, and so that way you will see me make this entire book, because you may not have ever done this before. And if you're like me, you're a visual person and just really need to see how it all flows together. What's nice about making your own journals is that you can truly just make every part of your journal then your own if you're making your own little books. And I think when you see how easy this is and how fun, you might just be hooked like I am. Because I used to always buy my journals from Walmart or Target or something like that, Dick Blick, and they were spiral bound. Or I would also go to Ranger sometimes and buy Dina Wakley's journals. But now that I know the secret to making my own, it's just, I can make them the size that I want, and I primarily work in a smaller journal. So This is honestly my favorite size right here. Okay, so we have our 4 papers, right? Now we're just going to put them together. Now, if we were making a journal with lots of different papers, like handmade papers and ledger papers and vellum papers and magazine papers, we would want to have a lot of variety when we put these together. So, but this is all, we're all just, you know, using the same kind of paper. It's the watercolor paper with these similar colors to it. So it really doesn't matter how we put it together. So we're just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna kind of do this. Okay, so we really do need a cover for our beautiful papers because, I don't know, a cover just makes my book feel like it is finished. And you know, every book that we read has a cover to it, right? And so we can add a cover page. We could that way when we know what's inside of the book, kind of gives a little clue to what's inside. So we're going to make it super simple. And one of my favorite things to use for my cover are these mini poster boards. You can see here they're Pen and Gear. They are from Walmart. If you don't have a Walmart by you, I would check. You know, you might be able to get these at Dick Blick or maybe even Michael's and Hobby Lobby have them. I would assume that Amazon for sure has something like this. These are 11 by 14, and I like the bigger size because I do make a lot of journals that are about this size or anywhere, you know, sometimes they're a little smaller, a little bit bigger. So this can cover a lot of size of journal for me. I'm going to show you how easy it is to add this cover, and you are going to want, if you do decide you want to add a cover, you are going to want to do that before we do our pamphlet stitch. So you'll definitely want to add the cover first. I just eyeball it, friends. I don't do a lot of measuring at all when I make my books. So instead of starting over here, we're going to start on the right-hand side with our pages this way. Okay, our spine is going to be on the left, right, like a regular book. And then I want to definitely have some overlap here. So I've got overlap here and I want overlap here. Then I'm going to take this and kind of see and kind of fold it over where that spine is, and then okay, so, and then again, I don't do this very I don't know, I just don't measure anything, friends. I don't enjoy measuring, so I just kind of eyeball everything. And so I'm gonna flip it over, and I like that. So I'm gonna kind of take my scissors, there we go, and then I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna cut as best I can. If you have like a really nice paper trimmer, I do. I have a nice one. I have several, but I don't use them a lot. I honestly just kind of wing it on almost everything that I do. Okay, so we have that, right? Oh, that's like really gonna be nice. So then on that bottom, we kind of just want to leave just a little bit of extra. So again, I'm just going to eyeball it and kind of do that, and we'll see how that turns out. If you're a person that really has to measure everything, and I get it, I've got friends that are like, wow, Leslie, I have to measure this, like I just can't do that. I totally get it, and you can just use a ruler for that, or if you have one of those nice paper trimmers like I do and I don't use, you can also measure it on that. Okay, so I made sure that I folded it over so those two edges met. I used my bone folder to get it nice and crisp. And then I'm going to take my journal and put it in there. kind of just in the center. And there we go, we have our cover. So we have our cover. Now, let's do the sewing part. This to me is the fun part. So we want to make sure that when we are doing our pamphlet stitch, you know, we could just hold it like this and we could try to sew it, but I will tell you that it might slip and slide around. Chances are that it will. So we want to make sure that the center, like it's all in the center, that we can really feel that it's in the center. Okay, and we're going to take these clips, okay, and we're gonna clip them here. We're gonna clip one at the top like that to hold it in place, and one at the bottom. These are just simple binder clips, so if you already have some, chances are you may. If you don't, you can get them at a big box store or office supply store. They're not very expensive. Okay, so making sure that this center here is lined up with our cover, and it is. We are going to be doing a 5-hole pamphlet stitch for this book, simply because it is long. Let me show you what that looks like. So this is a book that I created recently, and I did it using a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. And let me get the center here. That's what I was looking for. And you can see what that stitching looks like in the center and on the back. You can either leave some little tails dangling out like I did. The reason I did this is because I am going to add some charms to this little book. I just haven't yet. Or you can cut these off, and I'll show you as we create with this pamphlet stitch. So you're going to take your book, you've got your binder clips in, and you're going to take this tool right here called the awl. It is incredibly sharp, so when you are making your 5 holes, please make sure that your hands is nowhere near this, because this is really sharp. It's like an ice pick. So the way we start out is we need to be in the center. Again, I do not measure. I eyeball everything, and most videos that you find on YouTube from other artists, they just eyeball it as well. And I have just found that this is easier, and the more books that you make, the more you're just gonna eyeball it, because it's gonna become almost second nature to you. So we kind of want to go in the center of our book, and you want to push this through really hard. Like you do not have to be soft with this. Push it through hard, so it's going to have a nice hole like that. Then you're going to go up about right there. Okay, it's not quite halfway up. And then you're going to go back this way about the same distance that you did going up. So right now, if you can see, you have one in the center, and then you have one that's not quite halfway up and one at the bottom. Then you're going to go one more, about halfway. Okay. And then you're going to come on this side and do the same thing in the same spot. All right. So there are my 5 holes. Now, if they are not perfectly spaced, like if this is not the same as this, it's perfectly okay. But again, if you eyeball it, I think you're going to find it's going to work out pretty perfect. Okay, now I like to kind of, again, just kind of make sure that crease is good. And your next step now is the binding. So you're going to take your needle, and if if you're like me, you're going to put your glasses on, if you can find them on your desktop. And actually, you're going to take your wax thread first, okay? So the best way to measure this that I have found is you're going to go to your top, and you're going to do it one more time, and then one more time again. This just makes sure that you have plenty of thread. You don't want to run out of thread. Cut it, set your thread aside, take that needle, and then just put that thread through. With it having wax on it, it's going to go through the needle pretty easy. There's no need to make a knot or anything at the bottom. I just kind of put it about, not quite halfway down. Now, if you start in the inside of the book, that tail that I just showed you, okay, this little thing will be in the inside of the book, and I'm going to go ahead and make this on the inside. I chose to make this on the outside again because I'm adding charms to it later, but I'm going to start on the inside, but you're welcome to start on the outside too. I'm going to start on the inside, and I'm going to go through that middle hole, okay? Now, the first time that you make a book, you might get a little frustrated because it doesn't always just go easy peasy through that hole. And so don't get frustrated, just know that you're not alone. And if that happens, I always take my awl and just kind of center and go through that hole again to make sure that the needle will go through easily. All right, so then I'm gonna pull that string through, and I want to leave a little bit of string because I'm gonna need to tie it. So we went through the center, now we're gonna go up to the one right beside it. So we're gonna go to this one, and we're gonna go on this side of our book. And it went right through pretty easy. Okay, we're gonna do that. Now, I like to pull it tight to make sure that it's tight on the outside. Then we're gonna go to this next hole, okay, right beside that top hole, and we're gonna pull it through. All right, very good. Now we're gonna go to the back of our book, and we're gonna go to this hole again, the one that's just down from it. And I can already tell I'm gonna have a little trouble with this one, and that's okay, it happens. So when that happens, I just wanna make sure that I can feel it. Here we go. There we go. Okay, very good. Okay, now we're ready to go through. We're gonna skip the middle one, and we're gonna go to the one beside it on the other side, like that, okay? Then we're gonna go through this back one. So it's just kind of like what we did on the other end. Gonna go up through, okay? Kind of pulling again to make sure it's tight. We're gonna go come down again, go through that hole. Then we're gonna come back through the middle because we're gonna wanna tie it off here. And I like to come back, I'm gonna come on that opposite side. So see how I have this, I wanna make sure that that needle is on the opposite side because I'm gonna be, and so this can be tricky, so I'm just gonna kind of cheat a little bit and come up through. There we go. So now I'm gonna take my needle out, put it in my handy dandy little deal. Now I'm gonna pull it, and you can see what that looks like On the back, it's nice and tight. Nice and tight here. And then all we have to do is make a few knots. I usually make 2 to 3 knots. And then I'm gonna take my scissors and cut it pretty short. Can take your binder clips off. This is the exciting part, girls. And there you go. You have just made your own journal. Look how beautiful it is. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Girls, you're going to be able to now fill this journal when we gather together for Kimberly's live retreat. And we're going to fill this together and we're going to make marks in it. I'm going to show you all of that. I've got a beautiful PDF for you to download and print off that is going to be filled with beautiful images that you can add to this gorgeous journal. There is a supply list that you will be getting, and that will go over some of the things you're going to want to have besides just the PDF, like maybe some paint pens, some Sharpie markers, Stabilo pencils, anything like that, because we will be making some marks and having some fun really making these journals beautiful. So all right, friends, I hope that this has helped you. If you have any questions about this, I have included my email with this, and you can email me anytime and I will be glad to help you with your book. I will see you soon. I'm looking forward to it.